All right, so tomorrow is verse pass-off day, and I want to show you how that's going to work. Each person will get a folder, and inside the folder is everything that you need to do verse pass-off day. The first thing that you're going to notice that you have is a sheet that looks like this, and it has all the spots where we mark off the verses students pass off. Inside this will be one of these for every student. It has all the verses that the students are going to pass off. And so the kids will get these, they'll have chances to go over and look at them, and then when they come to pass off verses, they'll bring you this, and you can hold it and look at it while the students pass it off. So a student walks up, and the very first verse they're going to pass off is the one that everybody does, "For you form my inward parts." So when the student walks up, they'll sit down in front of you, and you'll look at them and say, "All right, here we're going to pass them off. Are you ready? All right, for you," and let them take off, and they'll say it. They should know that one pretty easy because everybody knows that one, and so they'll take off and say it. If a kid kind of gets stuck up and they're, for you knitted me together in my mother's womb, you can give them a hint. I praise you for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. The way we kind of do it is we give a student 2 to 3 helps per verse, and that way if they know it, they can get it out. Passing off verses is not something a lot of people just do all the time. Even if they know it, even if it's hidden in their heart, just the reciting part doesn't come naturally, and we want to know that they know it and it's hidden in their heart. So we'll give them 2 to 3 helps per verse so they can get them out there. And if they get it, you'll pull your sheet out and put a check mark for every single one that they get. If the student wants to walk up and sing the song, that counts, no problem. If they need to do the motions, let them do the motions. We don't care about that. We want them to pass off the verse and let them know what we're going to do. Another thing that we do is as a student passes off verses, for every verse they pass off, we give them a hole punch. If they can say the big idea for that one, we give them a bonus hole punch. If they can say the reference where it came, Psalm 139, we give them an extra hole punch for that. And so the students have a chance to earn a lot of hole punches today for passing off verses. Every student is going to come do it. Nobody has an out to do it. We make everybody do it, and every student gets 1 shot. So when they come up and they sit down to pass off the verses, we don't let them go back and study and come and pass off the verse they just said 9 times. We want to make sure they know these verses, not just passing them off. And so everybody's going to try, and everybody gets 1 shot. Inside the sheet, there are 2 more things that you're going to have, and that is, this is the camp registration form. And on each form, there are 2 certificates. For everybody that passes off 10 verses, they're going to have this form, and it has a spot for you to write their name and a spot for you to sign it as the team leader. So every kid that passes it off will get a chance to take home a camp form with a sheet saying, "Hey, I earned 50% off." For every kid who says the most verses, they're going to get 1 kid per team, and this is the yellow one that says that they want a free week of camp. To earn the free week of camp, 2 things need to happen. It's the kid who says the most verses on your team, and they have to pass off at least 10 verses. If the most verses on your team, somebody passes off 8, and everybody passes off 7 or less, they don't earn a free week of camp. They have to pass off at least 10 verses. And so that is all you need to know about passing off verse sheets. And so what we'll do at the very end of club, you'll fill these out as soon as you pass off. Every kid's passed off the verses. You fill all these out, and then we'll call them up and pass these out at the very last thing before the kids go to their car for rides out. So a lot of leaders love to help kids come to camp, and we appreciate you for that. One of the ways that we help get kids to camp is we get forms back. So this year we are fully expecting to fill up all of the spots of camp. So it is imperative that if you want a kid to go to camp, make sure they fill their form out, make sure you have all the information for it, and make sure we get it. Last year we filled up one of the weeks. A student wanted to come to this. Their leader tried to help them get there, but we never got one of these forms, and so we didn't save that kid a spot for camp. So if you want to help a kid come to camp, get the form filled out, get it back to us at the sites, and we'll bring them back to the office. We will fill up this year. A second thing is a lot of leaders like to help pay for their kids to come to camp. Man, we especially appreciate that because we know you're giving up days of your week. Every single week you give up a day and come and give to the kids, and then you're going to give money out of your pocket to help a kid to come to camp. We really appreciate it. How does that work? It costs every kid that comes to camp $100 to pay for everything that we do. And so if a kid earns a half off for a week of camp, sometimes leader will have to say, I'll give the other 50 and they'll come to camp. It kind of doesn't work that way because we still need that other 50. So if you want to sponsor a kid to come to camp, it takes $100 to sponsor a kid to come to camp. If you want to pay half of a kid to come to camp, you can do that, but they'll still need to come up with the other half of that money. A second part of the equation is this. If a kid pays $0 to come to camp, sometimes they're not personally invested, and the parent decides at the last minute, hey, you know what, we're going to go do this beach trip instead. We're going to just stay home instead. We're going to go play a ball game instead. And we don't really want that to happen. So having the kids pay at least the registration fee or pay the half off part, that gets them to camp. And so we invite you to help pay that $50 for the ones who are in half off, but it still takes $100 for a child to come to camp.